So this is the coronal section of the upper respiratory tract, or the face, and then we have the maxillary sinuses on either side of the nasal cavity. And the nasal cavity is divided by the septum. So this is our bone. The bone comes down the middle. This is the nasal septum. Nasal septum is made of two bones. The upper part is the perpendicular plate of the ethmoid bone. The lower part's the vomer bone. Then you can see actually just two concha. So 1, 2. This is the inferior nasal concha. This is the middle nasal concha. And the groove underneath is called a meatus. So this would be the middle nasal meatus, and this is the inferior nasal meatus. Okay, and that's pretty much it. So that's all we require there. So if we jump to this mid-sagittal section, we can start with the nose. So notice just the very top of the nose here is bone, and then the rest of the nose is cartilage. So this is our external nares right there. Inside the nasal cavity, there's 3 concha, so it shows all 3, superior, middle, and inferior nasal concha with the meatus, so superior, middle, and inferior meatus. The olfactory epithelium would be here, right? So this is where the olfactory bulb drops down. So this bone is ethmoid. This bone in front, this is your frontal sinus. Here's your ethmoid and your ethmoid sinus. Then right behind it, you have your sphenoid bone. So the sella turcica would be right here. So this is your pituitary gland sitting there. So this is our sphenoid bone, sphenoid sinus. So in the, down here, so this, where the probe is, this is all pharynx. And if it's behind the nose, this is the nasopharynx region. Straight back from the oral cavity, right, this is the oropharynx region. And then straight back from the larynx, this is our laryngopharynx area. So the pharynx will end when we hit the split, right? So then we can just call this the esophagus, and this is our trachea. Well, larynx technically, but then, yeah. So where it starts to separate, then we lose the pharynx. But the pharynx is this common area back here. So what separates the nasal cavity from oro cavity is our hard palate and soft palate, so the palate. Hard palate is supported by bone, maxillary bone and palatine bone, and the soft palate is just soft tissue. It ends at a little uvula down here. What you can also see in the nasal cavity is the entranceway to the eustachian tube or auditory tube. So this will lead to the middle ear. Down here, so here we have our pharyngeal tonsil. If we come down to the oral cavity, we have our little palatine tonsil. And our lingual tonsils are at the base of the tongue. So you can see there's a little division between the tongue itself and the lingual tonsils. And as we come down here, we can see this is our hyoid bone. So this is the upper anchor for our larynx. This is going to be the epiglottis, which comes down and covers up the opening when you swallow, so food doesn't go down your trachea. So that is elastic cartilage. Then we have this big cartilage here. This is your thyroid cartilage, which forms a bump. This is the laryngeal prominence, or your Adam's apple. Behind this, we have our 2 vocal cords. So the upper one is called the false vocal cord. The bottom one is our true vocal cord. And if we go further down, the cartilage right below the thyroid cartilage, this one is cricoid, and cricoid goes all the way around. So it's the only one that makes the complete ring, and so you can see it in the back also. Okay, so this and this are both cricoid cartilages, or just the cricoid cartilage, one cricoid cartilage. Okay, and I think that's pretty much it.